The V8 touring cars open their account at Queensland Raceway this weekend with leader Ryan Simpson 40 points clear at the top. Off the back of 5 straight wins, the big question is how will his dominance be dismantled? And Justin, you are the man probably most likely to do it. Next to him in second, what will be key?
Look, we just got to keep pushing. We're definitely working with the team extremely hard. We're doing as much mental and physical training we can do to try and dismantle him and make sure that we come on top. It's not easy, but I think we've got a good package to be able to do it.
Not easy, but you have impressed in your first season. 2 podiums from 2 rounds. I mean, where do you hope to take it from here? What's your secret?
But we just need to keep pushing him, make sure we put a lot of pressure on him and the team, do things a little bit different and make sure that we need to win, right? But we need to do it the right way. We don't do anything silly. We want to look after the car and we want to show the people, look, there's more in me, there's more in the team, and we're still developing. We're very new to the category, as everyone knows, but now it's time to sort of just show what we've got.
And that's a good point, Justin, because it does strike me that we've just seen this much of your ability.
Yeah, look, we're coming a long way. We're progressing quite fast, and I think the team's really helping me with that progress. And we just got to keep keep watching the data and keep watching what he's doing, and then do something a little bit different and make him. He's not used to a lot of competition, unfortunately. So it's good that we can be able to make him, a bit of pressure him a bit, and we'll see how we go in the first race.
But you haven't had much track time here. How well prepared are you?
Yeah, we done a ride day actually on Tuesday, so I took about 27 of me passengers as sponsors on Tuesday. So we done a little bit of laps, but it's hard with a passenger having 100 kilos in your passenger seat. It's nothing like being on your own. So look, mentally, physically, I'm ready for it. I'm ready to challenge him. I'm ready to win. The team's ready to win. We just need to make it happen.
We are looking forward to that for you, Holden and Ford fans. It's your time now. Enjoy the action.
It's a beautiful day at Queensland Raceway as we get set to show you all the action from round 3 of the Kumho Tyres Australian V8 Touring Car Series. I'm joined in commentary today by a guy who's got some experience in one of the cars we're about to see. James Moffat, welcome to you. Pole position winner a week ago at QR. This place has been good to you recently.
Yeah, not too bad, Richie. So it was obviously great to get my first career pole in V8 supercars at Queensland Raceway only a week ago, like you mentioned, but focused on some good Kumho V8 touring car action this weekend.
As we take a look at the championship points going into this third round, 2 wins from 2 rounds for Ryan Simpson, but we'll be looking forward to hearing from the fastest man around Queensland Raceway for a little while alongside me today and give you all the hot tips about a quick lap around this deceptively challenging 3-kilometre circuit. So this is race 1 on Saturday afternoon, and for the first time all season, Justin Rougier got the jump and beat Ryan Simpson into turn 1. He's in the blue and black Eggleston Motorsport car, and starts are so important in V8 supercar racing and V8 touring car racing when it's so close.
Absolutely, always very difficult to get a V8 supercar off the line, and Rougier did that perfectly. Limited amount of wheel spin. That's probably what Simpson had too much off, so couldn't capitalise on his pole position, but Simpson straight away putting Rougier under pressure.
As it has been all season long, these two scampered away at the front of the field, and Rougier held on for the first 7 laps of race 1 until Ryan Simpson worked his way past, and from there, despite plenty of pressure from the Eggleston Motorsport Commodore, Simpson would hold on and grab the checkered flag to win another victory, extending his streak. He's won every race so far this season. Race 1 of the weekend went to Ryan Simpson. Rougier was second, and Drew Russell charged his way through the field in his Kumho Series debut to finish third.
No, look, a bit of wheel spin off the start and then just couldn't get the drive, and Justin got me. It's made it pretty hard to get past during the race.
Now, you were extremely patient. When and where was the overtake?
I got him into turn 4 on the entry. Couldn't get quite close enough in the early laps, so I just waited till it's close enough and had a dive. He gave me room and got the position, so that was nice.
Race 2 on Sunday morning was decided earlier than the opener. The start and run into turn 1, ultimately the factor that would swing the race in Ryan Simpson's favour. We're underway for race 2 of the Kumho Series at Queensland Raceway. It's Simpson this time who gets the jump and leads down into turn 1. There's a fight for second. Matt Charter sweeps around the outside of Drew Russell and grabs third place. Clean start. Matt Charter and Drew Russell battled for third place, with Russell making the most of his first V8 start in more than 8 months.
There's Charter
And behind him, Drew Russell, the Novocastrian, who hasn't been in a racing car since the final round of the development series last year at Homebush. So December to August, he's been out of a racing car. A really last-minute deal to get behind the wheel of the second STR truck bodies car, owned by Matt Palmer and run by his team, and he's revelling in it. Meanwhile, Shane Hunt was on a charge and introduced his front splitter to the rear bumper bar of Matt Palmer's similar Falcon. And he's having a big run on the STR truck bodies Falcon. There's a good look at rear axle of ex-Brake Jones Racing Falcon down at turn 3. Steve Briffa and Ryan Cochran push the limits of the track boundary, coming on to the start-finish straight.
Oh, a bit of archie-barchie there.
Cochran in the Matt White Racing Falcon, just elbowed out a little bit wide. I'm not sure if there's any contact, but despite constant pressure from Ruggier, no one could topple Ryan Simpson, who swept to his 8th straight win of the year.
Yeah, staying at the front. You know, Justin stayed with us the whole race. Just lucky to get him off the line and managed to stay in front with a little bit of a buffer there, but he was definitely coming for me, so it'll be an interesting third race.
Final race of the day at Queensland Raceway, cars being waved away on their parade lap. The big question is, can Justin Ruggier get one up on Ryan Simpson? It's been the question we've been asking since the opening round of the series at Mallala back in April. Onboard cameras throughout the field. Richard Craill and James Moffat with you for this one. A fascinating battle in store. The track's changed a little bit. Conditions have become overcast between races, so the tyre temperatures and the track temp will change between that, so they'll need to take that into advantage when setting up their cars. Cars gridding up. Shane Hunt was all over the place in places in race 2, that car moving around a lot, but was in pretty heady battle with Matt Palmer. Chris Delsma just up the road. They've been struggling with the balance on the ex-Brytech Fujitsu car as well. So the car's ready to go. Final race of the weekend, the Kumho Series at Queensland Raceway. Underway, good start, even start between the two. There's contact in the back. Delsma gets turned into the Falcon of Ryan Cochran, who's turned around on the start-finish line.
Welcome to Kumho V8s for Cochran.
Third race in.
See that too often, a car facing the wrong way. Only moments after the start, big damage to the left rear door of that car. Simpson has dropped back a couple of spots, so Ruggier has managed to get the jump on him, and Simpson back to third, so this is something we haven't seen all year.
Charter up to second, no, third, because Simpson goes down the inside and grabs that position away.
Oh, Ruggier's off.
Off the road, locks a brake into turn 3. He drops a bunch of spots.
Oh, so he'll be kicking himself, Richie. He did all the hard work. He got the jump off the line. It was in the race lead and then sprayed it off the road at turn 3. We'll have to have a closer look to see why that happened, but geez, Simpson dropped it to third at the start and now finds himself already halfway around the first lap back in the lead.
He can do no wrong at the moment. Can he, Ryan Simpson? A bit of a strange aerodynamic disadvantage for Ryan Cochran there, who have to limp back to pit lane. That's Charter in second place, Russell third, Briffa up to fourth in the Poco Commodore, so he's been going really well. But Simpson grabs the race lead after a dramatic opening lap. That was wild, strange start.
We'll have to see what happened to Simpson at the start as Charter, big turn in oversteer moment over the bump into turn 1, so, and lucky to hold on to it, but looked like he was wide on entry into turn 2 as well. He was out in the marbles, so is Briffa. So maybe something on the track, or these guys just still struggling with front tyre temperature, but lucky break for Ruggier. He gets up the inside of Briffa, so that's another spot that he's fought back after throwing it off the road at turn 3. Now Drew Russell having a look up the inside of Charter, so something wrong with that number 18.
Yeah, he's really holding on at the moment, isn't he? And all this is allowing Ryan Simpson to drop away. I was about to say that it's not too bad for Justin Ruggier because he's still in sight of the leaders. He hasn't thrown away a massive advantage, so he can still buy himself back into this one. From 5th place, he's 4th. We're on board with Briffa.
Oh, a lot of understeer in that car, and yeah, problem here for Charter, so something coming out of the back, maybe a rear hub issue with that car, but yeah, that car has been sliding around in the first couple of laps, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him peel off in the pit lane. Yes, he does, so race over for Matt Charter probably, but have a look at his start again.
So what happened here? Great start from Delsma, and Palmer was moving across. Also got a good start. Cochran didn't, and that turned Delsma into the side of Cochran's car, which then turned him around.
Yeah, so This will be a good on-board replay of it. So Palmer, good start. Delsmus, good start. Poor start for Cochrane, like you said, and just wrong place, wrong time for all three of those guys. And somehow Cochrane ends up facing the wrong way. Oh,
Shane Hunt. Oh,
great evasive action.
That was NASCAR spec, wasn't it? You can drive through it.
Whilst all that was going on, Rougier from the lead, under brakes into turn one, cold tyres, just in there a little bit too deep, locked the right front, off the road he goes, and drops a whole bunch of positions. Now Rougier got the lights on, trying to apply a bit of pressure to the back of Drew Russell.
I'll tell you what, Moff, there's not much wrong with the Eagleton Motorsport Commodore, is there? This is a pretty well set up race car. Bit of oversteer in this race compared to what we saw in race 2, but Rougier's driving it very well.
Yeah, absolutely, and so is Drew Russell. He's driving that car very straight, throwing it deep in under brakes and focusing on trying to get off the corner as well, because he knows he's under pressure from Rougier, but Rougier is driving that car very well, just struggling a little bit with too much oversteer in that car at the moment, which is probably hurting him to get a run on Drew Russell into one of the braking areas. But Charter, he's been in and out of the pits now a couple of times, so probably day done for him.
Yeah, and we're hearing from the lane that it may well be a hub problem like you predicted a little bit earlier on, Dr. Moff. So that's a shame for Matt, because this has been a promising weekend. Wow, Briffa very wide at turn 3 and using a little bit more of the short circuit than most people would usually do on the exit of that corner. This battle continues for second place. Ryan Simpson out in front. You almost feel sorry for Simpson a little bit this season, although you don't feel sorry for someone winning so often, but he doesn't get any TV time because he's always up the road dominating the series. Here's second place, changing hands, Rougier down the inside. And from what we've seen the last couple of laps, it was almost an inevitability that he would get the job done. This is a strong car, driven by a very fast racing car.
Yep, nice textbook move by Rougier there, and also good driving there from Drew Russell. Probably recognised that Rougier was faster than him, and rather than fight to the end, probably put the white flag up and let him go, because third place finish for Russell, if he can stay there, will still be a good result for him and that team. So a nice and clean move, good racing room by both guys. So Rougier back to second, and it's hard to see him probably progressing any further than that unless Simpson has a mistake.
Here's a look from on board, so just out-braked into turn 6. One of two really good overtaking opportunities here. We're watching Steve Briffa in the Poco Commodore. It's been a solid weekend for Briff so far, running P4, P5 for most of the weekend and working through this car, having basically re-engineered it between round 2 and round 3.
They had been struggling with some damper issues in this car, Richie, so they've thrown a new set of dampers at it and seem to be much happier with the performance of them, and Briffa's doing a good job, keeping it nice and tidy. And we spoke about earlier that one of their targets for the weekend was to be the leading H-pattern contender in class, and all going well to the end of this race, so they should do that.
We understand as well from the Poco team that they've actually kept a couple of new tyres up their sleeve. They've elected to not use their full contingent of the Kumho V8 touring car slicks for this race, so they'll keep them up their sleeve for the next round at Phillip Island in a couple of weeks' time, so they'll have a better understanding of what that car's doing in practice. They'll be able to run some green tyres then.
And if there's a racetrack in the country that you need good tyres at, it's Phillip Island. So that could be a good strategy move for that team moving forward. But yeah, looking at the leaderboard, Simpson out in front from Rougier, and looking here now at third place, Drew Russell, who's hanging it out on the exit of turn 1. And the air-conditioned BF.
Well, it's not a massively hot day in Queensland, but a bit of extra airflow for Ryan Cochrane in the 28 Matt White Racing entry.
So he's obviously come to pit lane after that start line incident, and the crew at Matt White Racing has just whipped that left rear door off and said send him on his way. So important for Cochrane to, I guess, be logging as many laps as he can, because he's new to the championship, new to the car, so as much experience as he can get moving forward will only be benefit for him.
We had a couple of cars here, and Matt White did some laps on Friday, I imagine, to help give them a baseline setup and perhaps some data as well in these cars. Of course, they run multitude of cars, I should say, in the development series. Morgan Haber, DVS racer, former Kumho Series race winner and round winner, on hand this weekend as a driver coach role, which we're seeing more and more often in motor racing these days, Moff. So Morgan's been there on the headset working with Ryan to get him up to speed, and we're seeing a lot of that throughout the paddocks, in not just in V8 racing but in all sorts of categories.
That's right, Richie, and I think that's what I guess really this Kumho series serves a great purpose for. You know, guys like Morgan Haber and those likes can come through the Kumho series, learn how to drive a V8 supercar in the Kumho series, a little bit, I guess, more relaxed atmosphere than what the Dunlop series is, and then you know, step up to that series and have a full tilt of it, like Morgan Haber is with Matthew White Racing. But speaking of throwing it off the road, right on cue, Palmer into the sand at turn 6, lucky to get back out, and that's from 5th place as well, Richie.
Tricky corner that, isn't it? And there's not a massive amount of runoff. They've added in some extra tyre barriers down there. It's a tricky place and not the first person to run off.
Final lap now, Richie, and Ryan Simpson, probably after the first corner when he fell back to third, thought, well, I might have a bit of a hard race on my hands, but the sea's open for him at turn 3, and it's been pretty smooth sailing for him ever since. So barring a major mishap in the last couple of corners, he's going to record his 9th victory in a row and comfortably take the round victory.
Equal his own record. It'll be his 6th round win straight in Kumho series as well. He's just been so dominant since joining this series. But as Justin Rougier has said on a number of times that we've talked to him this year, it's nice to have the best possible benchmark you can. And that's what Ryan Simpson has been this season. If you're going to beat him, you know you're beating one of the very best. Final corner for the X888 Falcon on home turf. Ryan Simpson completes the sweep. It's 3 from 3 so far in 2014, and another round win goes the way of the Sydney Sider and the Sonic Motor Racing Falcon. Rougier home in 2nd, which is a good comeback drive after his earlier dramas on the opening lap of this race, where he led for 3 corners, then fired it off the road. And Drew Russell will come home in 3rd place. I think that's a really solid weekend for Drew.
And nice return for Drew after not being in a race car since December 2013. So for him to finish 3rd, great job.
Briffa was 4th ahead of Matt Palmer, Shane Hunt, John Vagotis and Ryan Cochran completed the top 8 in race 3, the Kumho series here at QR.
I guess that's probably the closest Justin's been to me all year, and the pace that he had this weekend was really close to our pace, and you know, he was pushing me in those races. It definitely wasn't comfortable to get 3 wins like maybe at the other rounds.
Yeah, it's not comfortable yet for Ryan Simpson, though he does have a handy lead at the top of the Kumho series standings over Justin Rougier. Matt Charter has established himself in 3rd, just in front of Matty Palmer, with Steve Briffa 5th, Tabanor Hunt, Drew Russell with a 1-round wonder jumping him into the top 8. A solid performance on debut for the former Development Series racer. An interesting round, plenty to talk about going into the next round of the Kumho series. That'll be at the Phillip Island Grand Prix circuit in September with the Shannon's Australian Motor Racing Nationals. There are the happy winners from round 3 of the Kumho series here at Queensland Raceway. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time we go racing at the Phillip Island Grand Prix circuit. Underway, good start, even start between the two. There's contact in the back. Delsma gets turned into the Falcon of Ryan Cochran, who's turned around on the start-finish line.
Welcome to Kumho V8s for Cochran.
Oh, there's the
Rougier's
leader. Off the road, locks a break into turn 3, drops a bunch of spots.
Oh, so he'll be kicking himself, but he did all the hard work. He got the jump off the line.
If you're going to beat him, you know you're beating one of the very best. Ryan Simpson completes the sweep. It's 3 from 3 so far in 2014, and another round win goes the way of the Sydney Sider.